also something that is spoken about a lot less because we have fewer visual reminders. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the 5 most effective things you can do to live more economically, live more sustainably, because there's just a myriad of little things trickling all over the internet that we can all do, and it's fantastic to have an accumulation of all these little things that we can do throughout the day and throughout our lives to make a greater impact. But sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming, so I have listed the things that I think are the 5 top things we can do to live more sustainably today. They're things that we can all do more of and strive to do better at every single day to make the biggest impact. So let's just hop straight into it. So number 1 is going to be the thing that I believe is going to create the biggest impact, and if we do it all collectively, can make the largest impact globally to affect this global crisis and help combat climate change. So I'm going to be going from 5 to 1, so stay tuned for the last tip, because for me it is the most important. And let's see if you can guess it before we get to number 1. Write in the comments below what you think I'm going to say. So number 5 might actually surprise you, because it's not necessarily a direct action that we can check off a checklist, but it is to keep talking with friends, family, and those in charge. One of the most effective things that we can do is just keep the conversation going about sustainability and climate change and living more eco-friendly. Of course, all of the little daily actions that we're taking are going to create big changes when we put them all together, but the thing that we can do to create the biggest change is to create those ripples and inspire other people to do the same. It's a classic case of paying it forward. So if we're personally doing all that we can do to live sustainably, that's a great start. But then imagine if we go on to inspire just 2 other people to do the same and live sustainably within their means, and then they each go to, I hope this is an okay visual, they each go to inspire 2 more people, and then those 2 people, all of those people go on to inspire 2 more people. You can see what I'm getting at here. It's quickly gonna create mass global change, because personally living sustainably as one individual is gonna create a great ecosystem for keeping things almost as they are, but inspiring other people who are living less sustainably to live more sustainably is going to help reverse the effects of climate change, and that's the key difference. Of course, I also wouldn't be able to bring up this tip without acknowledging that this goes for those in power as well. It's not just friends and family, it's also going to be petitioning to governments and keeping the conversation going with those in power about making tangible effects to change and combat climate change. So this means reaching out to our local government officials and demanding a change to our system. We can all individually make a small difference, but we're going to create a global change and something that we need to see in this time of urgency. Collectively, we can make a huge impact. So number 4 is traveling economically. Traveling more economically is something most of us have access to. It's something that we can make a daily decision on our commute to work or school, and it's something that we can give a little bit more forethought for work trips and yearly holidays as well. We have access to cars, taxis, planes, trains, buses, bicycles, skateboards, roller skates, scooters, running shoes, walking shoes, carpooling, coaches, trams, rowboats, ferries. I've got a whole list of them right in front of me because I couldn't remember them all off the top of my head, but you get the idea. We have access to a load of means of transport, all of which have a significant difference on the impact to our planet. This is something that we tend to get caught up in with habitual behaviors like always driving to work or always taking an airplane on a holiday trip. But if we consider some alternatives, this is something that can create a big difference over time and can greatly reduce our daily impact, especially if we're somebody who commutes to work. So consider taking the train or bus or carpooling with others to work, and consider setting your holiday destination to somewhere you know is accessible by ferry, boat, train or coach. Number 3 is buying secondhand. We have more than ample goods on this planet already to be able to sustain all of us for years to come. But every day we're making millions of brand new items that we just don't need, just replica items for the sake of them being brand new. So buy secondhand items like electricals, furniture, clothing, and even decorations, anything that we can find in thrift and vintage shops, to reduce the demand for brand new items. This is something that even when we're looking to live more sustainably can be a tricky one, because we often want to buy new items and support companies who are creating more eco-friendly alternatives to our traditional products. But oftentimes it's even more sustainable to buy a second-hand item, even if it's made from things like plastic. It's often better for the environment to buy that second-hand item rather than buying its bamboo or cloth counterpart. This is because we don't only have to focus on what the material is to make the product, but the resources it takes to create the brand new product. So if there's a plastic item already there in a charity shop, let's say, that item has already been made. The resources have already been used up to create it. Now, that item is going to be sent to landfill or put into our oceans as pollution, or going to be consumed by one of us. And if we're not consuming it and we're buying the new alternative, yes, it might be made out of something that's more durable and more sustainable on the surface, but the resources to create the item is the hidden impact that that item is going to have, and buying that item is going to create a demand, and they're going to create more of them. So yes, it's good to buy more sustainable and ecologically made items, but if we can buy it secondhand first, that's the one that we should opt for. Number 2 is buying locally. So plastic consumption is something that I talk about quite a bit online, but something that is also equally important is air mileage. Considering where our food has come from and how long it's taken to travel to us is really important, because oftentimes the transportation for it to get to us is even more polluting than the packaging that it comes in. It's also something that is spoken about a lot less because we have fewer visual reminders. If we have something in a plastic punnet with plastic wrap around it, it's something that we can have a visual reminder for, to say, no, actually I've sworn off plastic. So let's say, for example, we have apples in front of us at the supermarket or the greengrocers. There may be some wrapped in plastic, which is a visual reminder to a lot of zero wasters to actually look for the alternatives that's loose. But let's say that the alternative that is loose and not wrapped in plastic has been shipped from far away. That means that the air mileage taken to ship that item to us is greatly damaging our planet. We have sworn off flying, let's say, and yet we're still purchasing the things that have been flown to us. So something worth considering is that the loose item is not necessarily the more sustainable item if the item in plastic is grown locally. Buying locally also supports local arable farmers, and that's going to help keep our local land thriving. It's going to create better, cleaner air and a better local ecosystem as well. Often land is taken up by being plowed over to create room for animal agriculture, which destroys our environment, it destroys the soil, and then over time nothing else can be grown on top of it. So supporting our local farmers to grow fruits and vegetables is going to help our local ecosystem. It's going to help keep our soil nourished and thriving, and it's going to stop the myriad of damaging effects caused by animal agriculture. Which brings me to point 1, and that is to eat a plant-based diet. The animal exploitation industry, also known as animal agriculture, is the leading cause of deforestation, ocean dead zones, water pollution, species extinction, habitat destruction, and greenhouse gas emissions. And if you're worried about that plastic pollution in our oceans, fishing nets are responsible for over 50% of all plastic pollution in our oceans. By simply eating a plant-based diet, it's the #1 thing that you can do to take the biggest action against climate change. This is also because eating is something that most of us do at least 3 times a day, and so there are at least 3 opportunities to make sustainable choices every single day in just this one area. I'll be linking resources to all of these tips down below in the description box, so be sure to check those out if you would like further information, because I could honestly talk about any one of these points for hours, and maybe I'll make some follow-up videos about each point. Let me know if you'd like to see that below. But for now, that is my roundup of the 5 greatest things you can do to help combat climate change and live more sustainably today. I'd love to hear what are your top tips in the comments below, so leave them down there and let's start the conversation. Let's keep it going, just like my number 5. My camera just died, but hopefully this isn't too much of a jump from the last clip. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you're new here, and hit that bell notification if you haven't already to be notified every time I upload a new video every single week. And until the next video, I'll see you soon. Bye.